A very warm welcome to our latest podcast, brought to you by Michael Glanville Executive Coaching. And I've got the privilege of being here with Steve Jacob from the Hometown Group. Welcome, Steve, to the podcast.
Thank you, Mike.
And we're here at their business, Hometown Vehicle Hire, which is one of their latest businesses. And Steve's going to be telling us a little bit about that. But let's start right at the beginning, because you haven't been at the Hometown Group for the whole of your life, or founder of the Hometown Group. You started off at IBM, is that right?
Started off at Data Sciences, which was a small computer company that IBM then bought.
Okay.
So that was that kind of thing. You work for a small company, and they were going to do a management buyout. And the weekend, as they were about to float on the stock exchange, we thought, great. And we came back in on the Monday morning, and IBM had swooped in and bought us over the weekend.
Wow.
So you suddenly go from thinking it's going to be a nice small sort of owned company to being in a big cog of IBM.
And how did you find that?
I found that a bit strange, because you went from a small company of about 100 people where everyone knew each other, and then you'd phone up HR when it was IBM, and they'd just answer the phone and say, what's your employee number?
Oh,
and so you're basically just one in thousands of people then, and it was a very strange experience, because you realise people can just get lost in the business, and so you're not accountable as much, because people can just be there, not do much work, and yet they can just carry on and not be noticed, because it's such a big business.
And businesses are found on, your experience, your career journey, the things that you've learned on the way. So you described there about how you sort of felt like just a number on a page.
Yeah.
So in your business now, here today, and we'll dive into a little bit more. But do you think that's part of the sort of founding principles of the values that your business has when you're working with your team and your people?
I think it is, because our main focus is team and customer service. So we're so hot on customer service and the customer experience, because I think you suddenly went from a really small company to just being a nobody, and it's just a big effect on us, whereas we're a real believer in looking after our team and making sure everyone's happy and valuing our team and saying thank you, and it's not just about money at the end of the day. It's just feeling valued as part of the team.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so your time at IBM, came to an end. What was the sort of next step? How did Rogue Design come about? Is that the point it started for you?
So, I mean, to be fair, Rogue Design, the same thing again, I was doing in the evenings when I was working at IBM as well. So I've always had a sideline business. And then I was approached when I was working for IBM for someone that used to work at IBM, who then went off to set up their own company. And they said, can you come along? We'll give you a load of work as a sort of freelancer. It was like 1 week on, 1 week off. And I thought, well, actually, now's the time to maybe go off on my own. I had a guaranteed salary, but for half a year's work. And I thought, right, now's the perfect time to leave, and bit the bullet, and off I went.
Wow. That's a really, really brave, incredible thing to do.
Certainly is.
And am I allowed to ask kind of how old you were around that time?
I was about 25.
Okay. So yeah, pretty brave start at the
Yeah.
middle start of your career.
Yeah.
Kind of getting into that. And I'm going to take a guess as to why you called it Rogue Design, but go on, why did you call it Rogue Design?
It was actually, there's a bit of a thing. There's obviously, I'm a real Star Wars nerd.
Well, that's where I was going to go.
But then also it's Rogue Elephant.
Okay.
So where you've got a rogue elephant is one that stands out from the crowd. So you've got a whole herd of elephants, and then a rogue elephant is actually one that would stand out and be different from everyone else.
Which was basically part of your marketing plan, I guess.
Yeah.
So standing out and being different, part of the crowd, doing what? What's your core principles for Rogue? Because Rogue is still in existence. You still do quite a lot of work for Rogue under the Hometown banner.
Yeah. So I mean that's something again. I mean, to be fair, well, funny story. So I finally took the decision to leave IBM. Started going over to Ireland, because they were based over in Ireland every week, and I went over there 3 times, and then the company went under. so after all that decision, so then right, okay, I've got a secure move, I'm going to go. That was it. So a couple of months in, it was like, I've just left a nice secure job, and that was it. Then I had to just go for it and go on my own.
Wow.
So, but then it was that thing where you just have to do it.
Yeah.
You've got no choice then. I didn't have a sort of wife and family and stuff like that at the time, but it was just, well, I've got to make a go of this now.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. And so then it's the same thing again. It's just great customer service, being good at what you do and just being reliable and that safe pair of hands.
Fantastic. And obviously, Hometown Group has an element of design or a design agency within its banner, aside from Rogue. So perhaps let's talk about that in a second. But you mentioned your family there. So obviously growing a load of businesses, or building also a partnership with your business partner Ben, and having a family along the way. That's quite challenging for a lot of people. A lot of our viewers will be thinking, I've got to deal with all of this going on in schools and other bits and pieces. How have you found that? How have you balanced your time?
It's not easy. That's the thing. We're working for yourself. There's that balance of being a 9-to-5 employee, and you literally shut your laptop at the end of the day and go home. Working for yourself, there's no 9-to-5. It's 5 to 9 usually, and 24 hours quite often. Luckily, Joe's been very supportive over the whole time. We made the decision when the family came along that she would then stay at home. She then sacrificed her career for a while, and then as a stay-at-home mum, because that's what she wanted to do and be there for the kids. And it was, if I then used to go away with Rogue and do all these conferences, and I'd be away for days at a time, I'd literally walk back through the door and then take over the childcare and looking after the house, because it's the hardest job in the world. Being a stay-at-home parent and looking after the kids is just so full on compared to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was the thing. So it's just a big juggle, but then we were both supportive. You keep the lines of communication open, and
you made it happen.
Support each other, and it works.
Touch wood. And now, of course, your daughter Eleanor works in the business as well. Yeah. So that must be a really proud moment for you, having the whole family involved.
Yeah, and she's blossomed. To be fair, both kids have got a real good work ethic, because where we've done the festivals locally in town, they've all slowly worked their way up through the business, starting from handing out flyers through people's doors, and then becoming marshals on the road closures, and then finally working in the bars and the catering sort of as they've got older. And now Eleanor's working for us on the social media side, and it's just lovely just to see her blossoming and doing really well.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. A real sort of family business, family feel.
It's great. Obviously Ben and works with his wife Abby, and then Abby and Eleanor work together, so it's a real good family business.
So let's talk about Ben. He's your long-term business partner. You've been friends and business partners and colleagues for years and years and years, as far as I know.
14 years.
Where did it start?
We met in the Round Table. So the Round Table is like a global men's charity. So we met there purely just from going along drinking, as you do at the Round Table every other week. And the Hometown happened because there was always a Petersfield Summer Festival. Happened over the August bank holiday weekend, ever since Ben was growing up. And one year, 13 years ago, the pubs that used to run it decided they didn't want to do it anymore because of health and safety and red tape, and it wasn't as fun as it used to be. Someone else said they'd take it on, and then their business went bust 6 weeks before it was due to happen. And literally Ben just said, well, we can't not have it, because it's been something in Petersfield for years and years. And so we stepped in with 6 weeks to go and cobbled something together. We haven't really got much of a memory of it, apart from having one small plastic case with some tools in. And we cobbled something together, enjoyed it so much. It then just went from there, and we started doing it again and added in the Spring Festival, and then the Christmas, and then the awards. And 13 years later, we've got a whole business.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So Hometown Events is a critical sort of part of the business, and you do conferences as well. You've done some conferences for me in the past, which has been absolutely brilliant. But so how have you sort of navigated that journey of finding the right different events or partners or businesses or advertising platforms to get into to sort of grow that part of the business?
It's a very tricky thing, especially with the events side, because we found, as we hope, is that the trouble with an events business, or not the trouble, it's good if you do it right, is once you build that relationship and you have that trust with the client, there shouldn't be any reason why they do decide to go elsewhere and look for another supplier, because once you've got that trust, and they know that they can just throw things at you last minute and you'll get it sorted, and they don't need to worry, That's really great once you're in and you have a client, but to then try and find new clients, it's really tricky because there's that trust from someone else. So for us, it's been just a case of finding people through socially networking, and it's because it is a people business. Apart from like the vans where it's units, events is you are dealing with people.
Yeah.
And there is that trust. And so it's been very tricky to find new clients. A lot of it has been, some of it's been through my Rogue business where I've been hired in to do the PowerPoint, and then that's just kind of evolved, and I've taken on more of the management of the whole conferences. So that's been the best way, but most of it is literally through word of mouth.
Yeah.
And just that building the relationships face to face.
Keeping talking to people.
Yeah. And it's just getting that trust. It's the same thing again. It's getting the trust and the relationship building that people will then know that you're reliable and will give you that chance to prove yourself.
So we haven't interviewed anybody on the show that was running a small business during COVID, and obviously, Hometown Group, and the event side was going really well at that sort of time, and then sort of COVID hit. But tell me about that period, because you and Ben spent quite a lot of time talking about what options have we got, what could we do, what other markets could we get into, and actually created and founded some new businesses through that.
Yeah. I mean, it was a crazy time, as it is for a lot of people. But one of the things we used to say is there was that phrase during lockdown, whereas everyone's in the same boat. But we actually found that wasn't quite true, because everyone's in the same storm, but all in different boats depending on what position they were in. So for us, it was due to be our 10th year at Hometown, and it was going great. We'd just bought another show off another lady, the South Down show, and it was all going to be really, really good. And literally overnight, the whole world shut down. And when you're running an events business, that's quite a major impact on the business, really, when no one can actually go outside. And so for us, it was a real challenge. Sadly, we fell through pretty much every help that was going because of how the business ran and where you had the spike. Running a small business, so you'd had the spike of income coming in. So myself and Ben were both on minimum wage, taking dividends, and because we'd get paid when the events happened rather than spread throughout the year, so we missed all the furlough kind of support because of the way that the government decided to run it. And it was just really tricky. So we literally overnight, the whole business just fell apart, and we had no income coming in whatsoever. Same thing with Rogue and stuff like that. That was all events based, and so it wasn't necessarily a choice that we decided to look for other businesses. We realized that actually we couldn't rely just on one revenue stream with that kind of impact that might happen. So we were almost forced to look for other things that we wanted to do.
Okay, and so that took you into, if I remember rightly, removals.
Yes, removals and house clearances. I mean, it's sadly a very sad way. I mean, sadly, my mother-in-law passed away literally just before lockdown. So it's a very sad time, but without the money we received from her, we'd have probably had to move and sell the house. And so we were very grateful that sadly the timing's happened that way. But then also I was at the house when they did the house clearance. So the house clearance company said to my wife that maybe it's a real emotional time, probably best if she didn't go along, because it was a family home. Lots of memories. And so I went along, and literally this guy's phone didn't stop ringing all the time he was there, and was saying he couldn't come out for 3 months because he was so busy. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, we've got vans, we've got staff, we're pulling our hair out, we're desperate to be doing something. And so I came back and spoke to Ben, and we literally decided to set up a logistics and removals business.
Just like that?
Just like that, just like you do. So luckily we've had the local following that we've built up over the last decade. So we weren't starting from scratch. We still had the 5,000 whatever people, local people that would follow us. So we weren't starting from scratch, but building up a removals business and a house clearance, and we just went for it.
One of the things that I admire about you and Ben and the Hometown Group, and I know others feel the same way, is the fact that the business has always been agile, or constantly moving, constantly changing, constantly adapting. And you must learn so many lessons along that sort of journey. You know, what would you say? Sort of COVID aside, I suppose, but what would you say when you've been starting and then stopping particular businesses? What have been the best lessons that you've learned? The advice you might give somebody else?
Best lessons: always stick to your core values, whatever they might be. So for us, it's always good customer service, or awesome customer service, as we like to say. But then the main thing is literally, if you've got the idea and you think it's a viable option, just go for it. I know there's lots of the guys out there that just say you've just got to start, and it might not be perfect when you first start, but you'll learn the lessons as you go, and you'll work at it and work out what's working and what's not. And it really is just get out there and make a start.
And how much do you think sort of ambition features? I mean, is it you know, you and Ben have got the ambition to have, you know, this business of a particular size in 10 years' time, or is it just about enjoying the journey for you?
The journey's been interesting since lockdown. Everything was going great before lockdown, and then literally we all came back after 2 years, and everyone said, "Great, we're all back out," and the events had a real blip, and everyone was really happy. But then the world just took over again, and the financial crisis and stuff like that. So the journey has been a real struggle since the last 5 years. The agileness of our business hasn't always been where we thought. It's sometimes been necessity of things necessarily not working, and either then the outside forces. To be fair, it's never anything we've done wrong as a business that's made us have to change and try something else. It's always been outside forces doing things to us and the world and in general that have then said, well, that's not now viable, or that's not working anymore. We're going to have to tweak and try something else just to stay alive.
And given that, then, you know, because that agility has had to be driven by outside forces, or was driven by outside forces, no regrets then, I guess, because at least you tried.
No, we tried. That's the thing. And like you said, we haven't failed as such. I know that they say you don't learn anything unless you fail, which we have. We have had a few issues throughout the events, times where we've tried different things and they haven't worked, and they have been huge learning curves, financially and mentally as well. And so we've certainly adapted and learnt from those, because they are huge lessons when you make mistakes. And without that, so when you try these things and everything works straight away, you think you're amazing and you can't do anything wrong, but you soon learn when.
And is there one sort of biggest, won't call it, but to use your phrase, mistake that sticks out in your mind? Or
yeah, so it's not a mistake. Our worst thing we did was the Winter Wonderland, which was in 2010, where we did a skating rink in town, and it was all going to be amazing. We promoted, and it was the first time we'd really gone for it with our marketing. We'd got the whole town together and put this big 30-page flyer together promoting the whole town, and it was going to be amazing. And then we used an outside national company to do the delivery to, well, I think it's about 35,000 flyers we had delivered locally, and we didn't find a single person that had one through their door. Bearing in mind the amount of people we know locally in town, literally no one had received one, but the company had said they'd delivered them all, and they'd done all their tests, and they'd checked on all their deliveries, and they'd all gone out.
So literally the word didn't go out, and so
the word didn't go out, and it was like a ghost town for a month, and it cost us a fortune. So we tried to recover a bit, but it was just too much. We had such a lot of backlash from people in town because we'd promised all this advertising and it hadn't gone out, but then we were stuck between the company that said they had and it not actually happening. So for us then, it was just that trust of always making sure we do our own promotion. So we always get our own guys now to go out and do our delivery of flyers, and then that works. We know they're going out and we know they're going through the doors.
What's been the best thing about running your own business, finding all the things that you've done?
I love one of the good feelings for me is when you're running an event and it's all coming together, and you have however many hundreds or thousands of people at an event, and there's either people laughing and cheering or doing something really well, and just that feeling that you're putting that on. And it's just a life experience for people. So I remember my son said to me many years ago, why why do we put these events on? Because with a lot of the Petersfield events we do in town, it was all a community event. So it wasn't it for financial gain. It was all a community event. People come along for free. And as I liked emptying bins and stuff, the glamour of event organising. So we'd be out in town, and I quite often we'd have all these amazing bands playing, but I wouldn't get to see them because we'd be off putting up gazebos or emptying bins and sorting out issues. But one of the highs for me was I remember hearing people clapping and cheering and asking for more of this band, and just thinking, I've done this. The fact that I was round the corner, not seeing it whatsoever, but I could hear the crowd cheering, clapping, and having a great time. So it's just that, I suppose, just the satisfaction of knowing that you're putting on a good event and that people are enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, people need to know about stuff to be able to
exactly.
come and buy it. You know, a bit like the vehicle hire business that you're running now.
Yeah.
So you've over the years you've ramped up your wage roll, you've ramped up your number of staff, you've back to the sort of agile thing. You've then dropped it back when you haven't been able to do that. One of the things that business people, leaders, businesses find the biggest challenge is knowing when to start employing people, and then the pressures that come with that, not just from a financial management point of view, but from a personality point of view, engagement, training, development. What do you think's been sort of the biggest high and the biggest low from kind of taking that step to employing people?
Biggest high was, well, it still is now. I mean, we've got a great team now, the core team that we've got now, and seeing people grow from that. Obviously, the social media side and the Hometown Creative has been a really good success story, and it's doing really well. So that's been a really good thing where we've evolved from our team promoting our own events to then suddenly setting up their own company and getting all the new clients. So that's been a really good success story. Some of the lows are, it's growing the team, the pressures, the outside forces again, the whole logistics and the removals side just dipped when all the credit crisis hit again, and there just wasn't the income coming in. People weren't moving. People just weren't spending the money, and we had to sadly lay off a few members of the staff just because the business couldn't sustain it.
And that is a really, difficult thing to do, is to have that conversation.
Especially one of them's your brother, so that's never a good thing.
That was a bit of a challenge. And so, but business runs in the family blood, doesn't it? Because your wife runs her own business as well. Is that Benella? Is that right?
Benella Home Organisation. She's doing fantastically well at the minute. I mean, but bless her as well. She's obviously she stepped back from her career when the children came along, but then also that was a blessing because then she trained as an interior designer when she was still at home looking after the kids, and then she sort of set up herself doing all the home organisation and the decluttering, and she's doing phenomenally well at the minute now.
Yeah, fantastic.
She's doing all the online stuff, and she's got, I think it's about 160,000 people following her now online, which is just crazy numbers.
Yeah, amazing.
And she's doing awesome.
So the conversations over your dinner table must be absolutely fascinating.
Oh, it's crazy,
just so many different businesses and so much going on.
And it is, and then Jo's got so much happening with her stuff at the moment as well, and it all seems to be sometimes if the Hometown might really be doing well, and then she's been building up her numbers over the last couple of years and really struggling to sort of make ends meet. But now it seems to be picking up as well. So we both seem to be sort of at different times doing really well or struggling. And so, there's never a dull moment at home, shall we say.
I like that. Never a dull moment. Sounds like my house. Okay, so Hometown Vehicle Hire, been in business for a year now?
Year and a half, almost April last year,
Okay, so you do design, you do events, you've done all these different things, and then suddenly you woke up one morning and said, I want to rent out vans.
Pretty to be fair, that's kind of how it happened. We've always wanted, Ben's always wanted to do the van hire business. We've always thought it was a really good model, and it's something that has always been in the back of our mind. But then one of our sponsors for the Petersfield festivals that we do used to be Borden Vehicle Hire, and they were always really keen to move into Petersfield because it was a great market, and yet they went bust last February. And I was literally away on a conference, And Ben phoned me up and he said, "Oh, Borden Vehicle Hire's gone under." And I jokingly said, "Oh, cool. So Hometown Vehicle Hire then, just start up." And we both paused and went, "Okay." And literally from that moment, 6 weeks later, we had a van hire business.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. So we literally were there. We looked at some figures. We got everything together. We got a business plan sorted, sent them off to a few people, got some finance, got the branding sorted, got the vans.
In 6 weeks?
In 6 weeks.
Well, that's got to be the quickest business development growth story.
And the same, that goes back to what I was saying. It's like, just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that obviously you don't just have these wild and wacky ideas and just go for it. We knew it was a decent business because there's nothing locally. We did our research. We did the plan. We did the business models. And we couldn't see a downside. So we literally, let's get it up and running. We had 5 vehicles at the start. Now we've got 12. And we're looking to keep growing because we can't keep up with demand at the moment. Is that good?
And one of the wonderful things about what you founded in the Hometown Group is it is very local. You mentioned the local town many times, and that's what makes the business so special, because you focus on the local stuff, despite the fact that actually particularly in Rogue Design, you're doing stuff internationally for much bigger businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
And in Hometown Creative as well.
Yeah.
So if a viewer or a listener, if you're listening on the Spotify or Apple channels, was to be thinking about their local town and the things that they want to do, and they're seeing opportunities, but not feeling quite ready to kind of make that leap, what sort of advice would you give them?
Start small. I mean, I think the size of our events, when sadly we stopped sort of doing our festivals last Christmas, there was discussion we might bring them back, but we didn't start that large. And we literally grew with our experience and the confidence and seeing the demand. So I think to maybe start off small, do it well, is the main thing, because if you go to an event and it's not run well, it's just shocking.
Yeah.
And I've seen things online and seen things firsthand, and we go to events all the time, and it can be a nightmare if you're there and it's not run well. So I would say just to make sure the fundamentals are there of the rubbish and the security and cleaning and the toilets, and make sure they're done well and you've got the core things right, and then you can start growing from there.
Amazing. Okay, at the opposite end of the spectrum, obviously the business is growing, it's healthy, it's this side of the business is doing really well. Where do you see Hometown Group, as a group of companies, a collective together, in, say, let's go with 5 years' time? What's your trajectory?
5 years trajectory this is still in its infancy as far as we're concerned. I mentioned the other company before that went under. I mean, they had like 50 or 60 vans in their fleet, and they were constantly busy. But we are looking to grow, already looking to refinance and possibly get a few more on sort of by the end of the year potentially. So we're looking to maybe at least double in size, and then that would be a lovely business again that's not reliant on just ourselves. It is they're vans at the end of the day. People need to hire vans.
Yeah. It's an entity in its own right.
As long as you've got the customer service right, then there's not much else you can do. As long as the vans are good, there's customer service, you're not putting on events and all of that individual kind of catering to individual needs. So we're definitely looking at growing this. The Southdown show is going from strength to strength. That's just happened in August.
How many attendees this year?
That was just under 9,000
over
the weekend.
That's a big number of people.
It's a big number, but it all seems to be going well, and so we're already planning next year. That's the thing. We've already, literally as we're there, we're having meetings with new people to bring new attractions in. So we're already planning the next year while the event's still going on for this year. So we're looking at doing that. Always looking for new corporate clients as well for the event side. But like I said, it's very hard to get your foot in the door to prove yourself unless you just happen to be around at the right time.
So if you're a potential corporate client for this
Yes.
business, then how would people find out about the business as a whole?
So, I mean, as business as a whole, there's the hometown-events.com, it's the website, or then, I mean, they can just search for the hometownvehiclehire.com as well, and all our contact details are on there.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for new corporate work. So yeah, if there's anyone out there that wants to give us a try, we are a very safe pair of hands, as you've
Excellent.
witnessed firsthand, haven't you?
Absolutely right. And that's been absolutely amazing. Thank you very, very much for coming and talking to us.
Been great.
It's great to be able to sort of hear about the hometown journey and, clearly going from strength to strength. Yeah. If you, as a viewer or a listener, liked what you heard today, then click on our subscribe. We've got some great podcasts coming up over the course of the next few weeks, and there are 5 or 6 there to listen to. So from the Meeting Amazing Leaders on Their Journey to Success podcast, thanks very much, Steve Jacob from Rogue Design and Hometown Group. And we'll see you in the next podcast.